Hello YouTube, it's Richard, founder of ShortTermRentalSecrets.com and Airbnb Superhost. On today's segment, we're going to be reviewing the listing of one of our Facebook group members who's asked for a little bit of advice. So, I know you know the order, but let me go ahead and review it. The first thing we do is we talk about the title, then we talk about the photos and the order of those photos. The third thing is the thumbnail selection. Is this the best photo to represent the listing? Fourth, we talk about the description, and that's all the copy and how they talk about the property. And then finally, fifth, we talk about the reviews and what the community is sort of saying. So without further ado, let's get started. Escape to Whispering Woods number 454, Mount Hood Village. So, I happen to be familiar with Mount Hood and the village, so that's helpful. Escape to Whispering Woods number 454. You know, I love the Escape to. I'm not sure Whispering Woods really does very much, although in the photo I can see some woods. But I'd love to see something other than, say, like the name and the number of the condo. Again, what we're trying to do isn't advertise a generic condo. What we're trying to do is sell the dream. So Escape is selling the dream, but what are we escaping to? Escaping to the privacy, escaping to the outdoors, escape to the wilderness, escape to your dream location close to glacier skiing, hiking. And then the Mount Hood Village, I don't think it really adds that much because directly underneath it, it talks about the description. So I think in this particular case, Dottie, you can improve the title significantly, probably generate more clicks to the listing itself, and hopefully, if the rest of the listing is good, even improve more of the conversion. So escape to, and let's sell the dream. Okay, so now we're going to turn to the photos. I'm going to go ahead and skim through these, and I'll be right back. Okay, cool. So I've taken a look at the photos, and I would say a lot of them are really good, and some could actually use some improvement in terms of the photo quality and the image itself. You're definitely telling a story, and I love the story. Again, I've been to Mount Hood. My kids actually ski on the glacier every summer, and so I know the area really well. And I think you capture that, you tell the story really well of all the outdoor stuff. I think you've got really nice photos of the summer months, golf and the outdoors, and then also in the winter months, the skiing and making snow angels. And so, like, I think you're capturing all that really well in the photos. And I think some of the photos of the property itself could be improved. So I'm not sure that this would be the photo that I would lead with, the patio on the backside. There's better photos, I think, of the interior. Again, nobody really looks for a place to stay, especially in a condo, for what it looks like from the outside. The condo is really much more important about what it's like on the inside. I also think if you are going to take a photo of the outside, this day looks a little bit gray and cloudy, and the grill is covered up. I assume this is a grill, and the patio furniture, there's no chairs, and the umbrella's down. I might shoot that on a beautiful sunny day. In fact, if we release this soon enough, you've got, you know, plenty of time to do that. But make it nice, put some chairs out there, put a glass of wine, open up the umbrella, have the grill open, maybe even throw some steaks on there or whatever, burgers. But just show it in action, because right now this kind of looks a little bit gray and I don't know, I would say the word tired, and we want to make it vibrant and exciting. Again, it's clear that you're on a golf course, which is fantastic. I might even put this a little bit more in the description here. Hole number blah, 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 par 5, whatever it is to get a golfer who you're appealing to get really excited about it. So just realize you have that opportunity. I think the photo's nice. It's right off the backyard. That's great. Golf course view. This photo on the outside I think is really kind of nice because it's snowing and it looks really great. Interestingly, here you do have chairs, but I think you might want to change some of the order a little bit and start to get into the interior before you have 3, 4, 5 shots of snow or the golf course. Like 1 or 2 to signal is enough. Then let's get into the unit, and then we can always go back into the sort of the exterior and the surrounds a little later. I think this shot is pretty nice. I think it could be better. I'm not sure about this like chair here and the height. I would probably like to see a wider angle, maybe a little further back, pull back. And so I think this is the wood stove here, but I'm not 100% sure in this photo. And I don't know why, but my eye keeps being drawn to this like corner of the table. So I think the room shot is an interesting thing, but I think it could be improved to the extent that you have a throw or something that has a little bit more color. I would put that maybe in this couch here. This photo now shows that wood-burning fireplace, and the exterior here is a little overexposed. I like the fact that there's a vase. I would try and get something a little bit more colorful in there. Again, it looks very dark colors and sort of gray, brown, black. Let's try and brighten it up so it pops. So when people are looking at the images, they can see that. Maybe put something here on the table. Again, I like to put the eat-in kitchen, put some food out, maybe some mugs, you know, just try and make it look like it's lived in. This looks very clean, and that's wonderful, but it doesn't look like it's, you know, inviting me to use it. It'd be great to put some wood here by the wood-burning fire stove. If you feel inclined, you can even light the wood-burning fire stove. Again, you're setting the stage, you're telling a story, and what I see right here is really clean, minimalist, dark colors, not a lot of life, and I think it can be improved. I mean, it's beautiful, it's clean, nothing wrong with it at all, but I assume that you've submitted this request because you want to improve and you want to get more sales. And the things that I'm trying to tell you here, it's called staging. It's really easy, it's not very expensive, it'll take half an hour of your time, but I think it'll improve it quite a bit. I like this shot where you're coming down the stairs. It's evident that it's a duplex. It says living and dining rooms. Again, I think that the light is too bright here, so I would maybe shoot that again. I think a little bit of color, as we talked about in the rest, is good. I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like some magazines, and now I do see some wood here. Anyway, I think the same thing applies. This is a great shot. I would love to see the rest of it incorporate the same thing. And then just from, you know, I'm not sure why this lighter's here, just catches my eye. Really minor things, maybe some nice birch wood, you know, that wood that has that like white bark around it that peels off. Again, you're telling a story, so it's not about the functionality, it's about the charm and the romance, and you're pulling on somebody to say, come stay with me, not the neighbor 453. This is a really nice shot. I like the lighting, I like the shadows. Again, I would enhance it by putting something on the table here, like a centerpiece, some flowers, an orchid, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but just something to give it a little bit of light. And then again, to the extent that you are reshooting it, I'd probably take the cover off the grill if you're going to show it. Again, I think that the kitchen is very Spartan and minimalist, and that's nice. It looks like it's a little bit dated, you know, the stove and the microwave and the colors and all that. And so to combat that, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to go and renovate or do anything with it, and it's spotless, and so that's amazing. And I love the fact that there's soap here and salt and pepper. Like, it's very, very functional. It's really clean. That's all wonderful. The photo itself is kind of like beige, tan. The lighting isn't very good. Probably it's the overhead lighting. Maybe you want to use a flash. And then again, I would just try and make it, you know, focus less on the cleanliness and focus more on sort of what you could do. Maybe have a big, next time you cook a big family meal, whether it's a bunch of burgers on a platter or a big bowl of pasta, whatever you think is appropriate, maybe a bottle of wine. Get people to get excited about, like, oh, I can come in here and I can cook and I can host for my family. But I think that the lighting is off. I don't think that the overhead lighting is adequate, and it turns this into a beige yellow cast, and that's not the best story. Same with this, exactly the same point. In this basket here, I might put some fruit, some nice bright oranges, just to brighten it up a little bit. The bedroom, again, I think you would benefit a little bit from superior lighting. There's too much light here coming in from the natural light, and this light here is throwing off some shadows. I think that the bed looks really nice and comfortable and inviting. If you were going to shoot it again, and I think you should, I would maybe fluff the comforter a little bit more so it looks a little more even and like professionally made. Again, nothing wrong with it. It's super clean. I love the throw pillow. I like that you have some art. This wall looks a little bare. Maybe you have some other art that you could put out there. Maybe just a throw on the bottom here, like lengthwise, just something to give it a little bit more color and interest. Whether you actually leave it there for them to use or not doesn't really matter, but just think of this was in Elle Decor or Architectural Digest or something like that. What would the bedroom look like? And it would have a little bit more than what we see here, but again, I understand that it's it is what it is, and it's very clean, and it's going to appeal to people that are going to stay there. I just want it to stand out a little bit more, and I think some of these tips are really inexpensive and will make it pop. Okay, so this is the master bath. I love how clean it is, and I actually think this is a superior photo where you're showing your hospitality and that you've got these goat milk cleansing bar, and I might put that in the title. So that's what I would do. This room looks really inviting, and it's got twin beds and the bears and the outdoors and the elks and all that. That's great. I love this room. This room is the loft room. This room almost seems more inviting to me than the master bedroom. Maybe it's because it's got the deck out here. I can see more light. It's got some more colors. So this is nice. This is another shot of the loft room and the loft deck, which I think is really nice. The upstairs full bathroom is very similar to the master. Nice and clean, and I absolutely love the fact you put out this hospitality thing. And the towels are really clean. Everything looks really clean. I can see here that it's got the laundry, and you did a good job of explaining that it's the laundry. I can see up here you've got the iron and an ironing board, and that's great. And then this is kind of interesting, the open year round. I might put this earlier in the photo shoot because this is going to really entertain families and kids, and it's a great thing to have access to. The hot tub, I might even put the hot tub first and then the pool, just a personal preference. Both of those photos, by the way, are a little bit low resolution, so I would try and shoot them with a better camera or a better phone. They just look a little pixelated on my larger screen here, so I think those could be improved. And this I absolutely love. The fact that you've got a floor planner, because especially if it's a duplex, you can see the size. I love the fact that it talks about how big it is, 1,225 square feet. That's huge. I love the way you can see the layout and where everything is, and I just think that's fantastic. In fact, I'll preview it here. My team has been working on doing something like this, just like we did with the guidebook tool that allows Airbnb hosts to buy it and put their specifics in. We're working on a similar tool right now to help everybody do just this, because not everybody has a condo and has a floor plan that we can use, but we're going to make one. So stay tuned for that. We'll let you know more when that's ready. Here's the stairs, the entrance. This is a nice shot, but it doesn't add a ton of value from what you did before, except you're trying to show that this is what you see in the living room. Here the grill is exposed and the seating and the umbrella, and that's great. Again, I might put some food out, maybe some beverages, a bottle of wine, just to make it a little bit more inviting. This doesn't add a ton of value. I don't know that this shot is necessary. You have the other shot with the chairs out on the table. I think that's superior. This is a really nice shot. We're out in the middle of the woods. It's fantastic. Golf, I get it. This is a beautiful shot. I just think it's romantic, and the clouds and the light is really nice. I think this is similar to your title shot. I love the snow shot of the glacier and the Mount Hood and the kids skiing. This one doesn't seem to add as much value unless it's personal, but I think we got the picture without it. This one is, I feel very strongly about. This is great. This is what kids do. And then again, the facilities, the gym is fantastic, but the image quality is a little pixelated, so I would maybe retake this. Same with the park for the kids. These images just seem a little pixelated. And I'm not sure what this really does other than tell you exactly where it is. But that's also in the description. So those are my thoughts on the photos. I hope you found that helpful. Again, I'm not trying to suggest that you didn't do a great job. I think it's really clean. I think it photographs really well. But I think that some of the things that you can do are really easy, like retake them with better lighting, retake them with a better camera, change some of the angles, and do a little bit of staging. And I think your listing will really pop, and it will drive sales. So it's well worth your time and the few bucks that it'll cost to go get the flowers and maybe put some food out like right before you eat. Hope you found that interesting. Okay, the next step. The thumbnail. So the photo that you've picked here is of the golf course and the outdoors, and I think it's really beautiful. It paints a picture, it's inviting, it's great. The one suggestion I would have, and you should really play with this, my guess is that Mount Hood Village is really like a two-season place, although I don't know. People come there for the summer, and they ski on the glacier, and they also play golf, and then it's probably pretty active in the winter for skiing only. And so I would suggest playing with changing it, the thumbnail, and having two different thumbnails. In the spring leading into the summer, I would have this outdoor shot of the summer months and the golfing, and then let's say about now, September, October, maybe a little earlier, I would try a thumbnail that shows the skiing and just see if that really improves. Because if you think about it, studies have shown that Airbnb typically gets rented 90 days or less, and the vast majority of rentals are 30 days or less. So if I'm thinking about skiing in the month of, call it December, this shot doesn't really encourage me to like look beyond it. But if the thumbnail shot was the ski area, I think I would be really interested and I'd click on it even more, and maybe more people will do the same. But you have to experiment with it. But otherwise, I like the shot. It's pretty. All right, so now on to the description. And I think that the first thing here about this listing is really important. This is like what everyone's going to focus on. And I think that you've done a pretty nice job. Again, you highlight Whispering Woods number 454. I think what's important here is that you're appealing to people that know what Whispering Woods is. But if you've never been there, it doesn't have any meaning. And so I would try and express why Whispering Woods is so important. You indicate here that it's situated on the resort on the mountain and the courses. But I think you have to explain it a little bit more to people that have never been. Like, for instance, the first time I'd ever been to Mount Hood, I had no idea what the names of the condos were, and it didn't mean anything to me. And so I think you could explain, a little bit more about the condo, the location. Our 2-level end unit townhouse has 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, situated on the resort of the mountains. The courses, Foxglove Signature, nice, lovely views. Mountain, Mount Hood, relax and enjoy. One thing that I would suggest is actually spelling things out. I'm not a huge fan of the ampersand and the abbreviation. I know that we're saving space and it's on phones and the times are changing. But I think at the end of the day, the subconscious mind, my mind anyway, says if you're taking shortcuts in your listing, what other shortcuts are you taking, and what other surprises might I find in the place versus a professional, like a professional listing. If you were selling a home, you wouldn't do that. If you were listing the home in a magazine advertising it, it wouldn't look like that. And I think we should take our business seriously. This is a business. So spend a minute, go back and spell everything out, and try and be a little bit more descriptive. Like, for instance, I love this. Whispering Woods is a perfect place for all families and is quiet, peaceful, yet convenient, and it's all of its year-long stuff. I would put that higher up, and I would emphasize that a little bit more, because I get sort of stuck on this. Situated on the resort of the mountains, the course is Foxglove Signature. It's like a mouthful. It doesn't mean anything to me, and I'm already like losing interest. But if you say to me, Whispering Woods is a perfect place for families and quiet, now I'm interested and I want to read more. Same sort of thing here. I think it's really, really helpful that you've been so thorough in your description, but it's also like too much. It's just visually a lot, and it just continues. I would pick out things that are important to talk about, and I would maybe change the order. So for instance, like at this point, when I've realized that there's kids friendly and ready and pack and play, which I think is amazing. I love that there's a washer and dryer. Like, change it around a little bit. Like, the washer and dryer is probably more important than the hair dryer. Board games and coloring fun, is not just below the smart TV. So just think about the order of what you're saying, because realize people aren't going to sit here and just read every single thing. Just like everything else, they're going to skim, they're going to get the gist of it, they're going to move on, and they may not even know about the TV or that there's parking because they got tired earlier looking at the fact that there's plastic dinnerware and complimentary toiletries. And then same with discounted lift tickets. That's important if they're coming during ski season, but perhaps more important is movie rentals for a small fee. That's nice to have. It's not that important, but more important might be the golf at the courses and the tennis court. I might put the nearby activities even higher. Again, just reorder all this. Realize that people aren't going to have as much interest in reading all of the stuff that you've listed, and so your job is to curate it. Like, think about what they might do. I love this day trips and places of things to do. Again, I think it's too many. Try and pick 5 things. If you're a skier, do this. If you're a hiker, do this. If you're a mountain biker, do this. Wine tasting, I think, is great. But, a lot of this stuff I think is just too much. Voodoo Donuts and Joe's Donuts. Interaction with the guests, there's a key code, no smoking, no pets, I like that. Housekeeping is not provided, that's good. You have a hidden URL here, so just so you know, you might want to go and fix that. You can't put the URL in, but remove that. Then this is, you know, an awful lot of stuff. Again, I know what you're trying to do, and I think it's really a great idea, but it's so much that it's overwhelming. And if I'm on my phone, I'm not looking at all this. If I'm looking at 10 different places, I'm not reading all this. I just need, you know, you to pick for me what you think are the 5 most important things for me to know. And if I know those things, I'm likely to book. Here we go on the sleeping arrangements: 3 bedrooms, 2 single beds, 2 queen beds, extra people, no charge, cleaning fee. I think that's good and reasonable. Security deposit seems a little low to me, but you know, I think based on the fact that you're renting it for $125 on the weekend, that's probably fine. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say this, I'm not a huge fan of the weekly discount or the monthly discount. The whole point of short-term rentals is that you have turnover, and so what you should do is price higher and be prepared to have a little bit of vacancy. But if you're interested in monthly people, then maybe consider going to long-term. So I'm just not a big fan. I am a big fan of doing dynamic pricing, whether it's what I recommend, which is beyond pricing, or the Airbnb smart pricing, but I'm not sure that you need to like discount above and beyond that. Okay, strict cancellation, you've got all the safety stuff. Availability on Fridays and Saturdays is a 2-night minimum. Okay, so those are my thoughts. I think you should really bring it down. You list everything in there, and I think that that's a good intent, but the execution isn't great, and I think it probably tires the person looking at the listing, and they miss probably the most important things. All right, now on to the reviews. I see 9 reviews, all 5-star. That's fantastic. Well done, Dottie. I think that that's exactly what we're trying to do, and you're doing it. So keep doing whatever it is that you're doing on the hospitality front. You're doing it great. I mean, you're off to a fantastic start. Let's see what people said. And this is, you know, this month. From check-in to departure, this place was perfect. It's everything you could ask for. Skip the typical hotel scene. Perfect place to stay. Very well equipped. Close to everything. The home is so beautiful. That's fantastic. Dottie's fantastic to work with. I would definitely recommend it. Hey Dottie, one thing I see here in the review section that you could improve is I highly recommend that you go ahead and write a personal response to each one of these people. When people look at it, that's part of the social media aspect of it. So, hey Casey, so glad you really enjoyed your time. We love it too. Corey, perfect place to say, you know, I'm glad you enjoyed. If you get to know these people at all, I think you have some interaction. Put something personal in there. Hope you hit them straight. Great skiing. You got terrific snow. Whatever it is, just put something in there so that people look at it and say, you know, this isn't on autopilot. She actually cares. She's a great host, and she's involved, and she knows what's going on. And I think that makes a big difference too. We had a brilliant time. The gym. I mean, it sounds like you're doing fantastically well, and I really think that that's kudos to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Again, I don't want to suggest that anything that you're doing isn't working. I'm just merely trying to enhance it, make it even better, because nothing would make me happier than you having not 9 5-star reviews, but 90. And you're well on your way. You'd get there on your own anyway. If I can make it a little faster and put a little bit more money in your pocket and dissuade you from doing discounting so you're actually making more money, you're going to have a great business, and hopefully you're enjoying it. Maybe even want to expand. Maybe you'll get, you know, unit 453 or a unit in a newer condo or whatever, and start to build a little you know, empire, which is sort of the opportunity set. So I hope you found this helpful. I really enjoyed this. I love Mount Hood. I didn't get to go this year, which is unfortunate, but if you haven't visited, you should go check it out. It's a great part of the country, and I absolutely love it. And Dottie, well done. Congratulations. You're off to a great start, and I hope you enjoy it. So happy hosting, and thanks for submitting and listening to our recommendations. To everyone else, please go ahead and leave comments and feedback, whatever you think Dottie could do to be better, a better host, a better listing. We're a community here, so it's not just Richard here. Whatever you guys think would be helpful, I'm sure Dottie would appreciate, and likewise Dottie will comment on your listings if we were to review them. In the meantime, go ahead and like the video and share it with anybody that you think would be interested. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks so very much. Happy hosting.